Loosen the body, so just on the vertical. Body, keep all the joints free, mobile, nice and free. And sinking the weight down into the ground. And you're going to roll the body sideways. Nice and soft in a wave, hitting the spine. You just kind of walk through this movement. So allow the body to sway one way and then just continue into the next movement. Just really roll it. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Good. Okay, rotating the body. Rotate the body this way. Yes, with the arms loose. In this case, really allow the impulse to come from the feet to the ground. So rather than in the hands, starting the movement in the hands, really allow the hands to be kind of heavy, dense on the hips, and allow the kind of impulse to come from the feet, releases the hands. Feet releases the hands. You got the same kind of organization that we're always kind of looking for. Feet, hips, hands. Feet, hips, hands. And then just playing with the arms front and back. The similar kind of motion with the hips. So one hip's coming forward, one hip's coming back. And again, just keep it really fluid. So allow one motion to come into the next. And then very similar, just allow that to rotate both ways. I'm really now opening the shoulders out. So you're going to be in this position. Allow the whole spine to rotate, the head to rotate, and really opening the shoulders up now. Really open the shoulders. You should really feel the joint loosening up. Dropping into the feet, pulling into the hands. That's it. And all the time, really looking for the balance in the center of the body. So use both arms to center the body. Very easy in this case to kind of lose the center into one hand. So really keep the feeling constantly that the body, the spine's draining down, sinking into the base. All the way through the rotation, the body's just in the middle of the base. You can really feel the body sink down, especially through the downward swing of the arm. Swing the weight down. That's it. Good. Great. Very nice. Good. And then this one, just to really unlock the spine, you're really going to move through a wave through the body now. So you can use the arms as you wish, just allow them to follow the body. But just really look to open and close the body up. So really open out, really close the body. Again, initiate the movement from the ground, transfer into the hips, and then press it back into the ground. So it's actually one continuous movement, waving in and out of the ground. That's it. Very nice. Good. Good, good, good. And with this one, just be careful. Again, you don't want to be, something Lewis talked about this morning, you don't want to be really loose and soft, and you don't want to be too hard. Hard looks like this, moving like this, and too soft looks like, oh, structure's really being blown out. It's like giving yourself whiplash. So it's a bit like pasta. You don't want to overcook it, and you don't want to undercook it. So you want to keep something that's very loose, but also just connected. So the structure should feel secure and safe. I shouldn't be kind of throwing myself out of the structure, but I also want it to be very soft as well. So try and generate a sense of softness. Overcoming the hardness is the first kind of barrier to the training, but really allow the structure to maintain integrity, but keeping softness through the form. Yeah, just play with it.
That's yeah. Uh-huh. Nice. Good.
Okay, now we got to kind of dynamic swing. Use the kind of mobility of the legs to do this. You raise up and you swing the arms down. Again, keeping the integrity of the body. I don't want to kind of just swing the body down. But really have a sense that you're going to swing down with a really good structure through the spine. So extended, the arms loose and really sinking into the knees. Go through the whole joint of the lower body. Hips, knees, into the feet. Swing the arms down. Keep going.
Nice.
In this case, really, the connection between the elbow and the hip. You want a sensation that the hip is dragging the elbow down. So it's this feeling like this. This is the feeling you always train the sword work when we do this kind of feeling. So the feeling the elbow's connected. What I don't want to do is kind of just throw the hands out this way and nothing really happen in the joint in the elbow. So I really get a sensation that the elbow's heavy through this movement. So as if just really imagine a connection between the elbows and the hips. So as the hips drop, they drag the elbows down. And then the connection's here. So just work on this connection between this part of the structure, between the hips and the elbows. And really raise them up and then drag the elbows down. I really get a sense that the whole structure of the arms being integrated into the hip work. You just focus on the hip, elbows, that connection. Good. Right. Good. Okay, now this is done from a neutral position here. You're going to roll down. You basically touch the shoulder and you touch the lower back, the small of the back with this hand. So you unlock out, kind of come to a neutral position and then roll the hips down. Roll the hips down. And you just want to basically bring this hand to the shoulder and this hand to the lower back and then just release it, sinking down. And again, really focus on the elbows being heavy. So the elbows connected with the hip. And the hand just follows the arc of the arm. It's going to go to the shoulder. And that one's going to go to the small of the back.
Coordination.
Okay. And again, the kind of similar thing, I can be too hard with this, where I'm kind of holding the arms and then carrying them over. And then it's like carrying the arms with kind of tension. And the other thing is I can do this with kind of, with no sense that the arms are connected to anything and they're just kind of floppy. The second one's preferable, that the arms are kind of just floppy. But try and really get the sense that they connect to the hip. So you're trying to really connect to the core of the body, whilst also maintaining a sense of softness and flow in the arms. So really, in this case, just the kind of coordination, what you're basically doing is this arm, this hip swings, this swings. So what I want to do is really coordinate the hip work to the arms. It's like, think of it like you're sending a message to the hands with the hips, this, and this sends them to move. But in a sense, I don't want to kind of distort the connection. I just want a very clear connection, the hip to the arm, the hip to the arm. So you can practice this two ways. You just, in this case, just have the sense of one arm, this arm, and just have the sense of dropping into the foot and swinging the arm. Dropping into the foot, swinging the arm. So really get a sense that this hip and this arm is just going to release through the movement. Release through the movement. And get away from kind of carrying the arm and away from just kind of flopping the arm without a kind of structure behind it. So just work on this kind of structure, just one arm and just swinging it. Just swinging it. You're basically going to hold the arm as if someone's holding it, and then you just release it. But the release is going to come from the hip, from the ground, not from the arm. So it's not that I release the arm and then move it, but you release the hip to move the arm. Yeah, try it.
Yeah. That's it.
And just switch between the arms. Good.
Yeah. Good. Awesome.
Yeah, and also in this movement, I also don't want the shoulder to leave the structure. So I don't want to, again, this is, if I'm too loose with the connection, the shoulder starts to twist me out. This is where I'm actually out of balance through the movement. So really get a sense that, in this case, focus on the shoulder and focusing the shoulder just sitting into the body. So all the time, it's just going to be rolled down into the shoulder, rolled down. But in no sense does it get thrown out with the arm. So don't throw the shoulder out with the arm. Just transfer as if it's a kind of direct connection from the hand to the hip, from the hand to the shoulder. This way, but without throwing the shoulder out to do it. So in a sense, it's not like this. We go to a little bit of striking work. So what I don't want to do is throw the shoulder out when I'm making these kind of strikes. Ooh, fly on my, no problem. So just keep the shoulder down. You can also do that in this case, just place the opposite hand on the shoulder, and then you can really feel whether it's leaving the structure or not through the movement. So if it's leaving the structure, I'll feel it rotating out. Right. But just allow it to sink down. The shoulder should feel, in a sense, really very loose. And it can then just relax into the structure this way. So just play with the feeling in the shoulder here. Right. Try not to rotate out with the shoulder.
So don't throw the shoulder out with the hand. Good.
Good.
Uh-huh. Good.
Okay, now mix these kind of in freely. You're going to go just to one arm, but you're basically going to, don't worry about the back arm in this case, just send it to the shoulder and then send the other one to the shoulder. Now what you can do with the hand when it makes contact is it's really going to kind of just swing back. So one of the kind of tests of this is if I'm holding the arm, it would be like this, and then I release it. But in a sense, the arm's always released. So it's always kind of released this way. So you're going to kind of send it out this way, it strikes, and then release it. This way and release it. And then just go to the other one. So you can do this kind of slow. have the feeling that you can also do this in steps like this. So I kind of swing, create a connection with the arm through the hip, and then just swing it up. So basically establish the connection, and then just send it wherever you like. You can, in this case, it's into the shoulder, but you can send it to the hip or to the ribs or anywhere. But just get the sense that it's really connected. The hips directing the arm, and then you just send it somewhere. And really get a sense that from the connection, it's also going to release. And you should be able to just swing back into it. And if you can get a feeling, you can swing into both arms. You can do this kind of continuously. And then automatically the hand will start to go to the small of the back. You don't need to think about it. There. Really get a sense of throwing the hand now into the stretch. Good, keep going.
That's it.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's okay, great. Okay. And don't mistake this for this. This is something else. So in this case, don't do this. So don't throw the arm out this way. So in this case, again, it's not the shoulder coming out this way. It's actually a swing down. I think actually it's more like a thrust with the we do with the Joe. So this kind of swing you do, it's actually I show it from this way. It's this way. So the hand's actually very close to the body. So I'm doing this, but I'm not throwing it out this way. So in a sense, it's not this. It's this. It's a bit more subtle. So it's a bit more compact in its movement. This way. This way. And this is really so that you can train for the arm to be connected to the hips and just move. Just connect and move. And then later you do it with a structure. Do it with a structure with a strike. So allow the arm to arc kind of close to the body down.
Okay, good.
Good. That's it. Yeah. Good. Nice. Yeah, Bernie, good. Got it. Okay. Okay, so this is really about loosening, connecting. We're going to do a kind of structured exercise, which is about strengthening the core in a way. So this is actually from a Systema group, and they've got basically 4 pillars of movement. So you basically have a press up, you have a sit up, like a crunch, you have a leg raise, and you have a squat. So we're going to do them individually, and then we'll bring them together into a kind of flow. So we're going to do them really slow and like this. What I want you to do, if you can, is use your fists to do them. So you're going to start with first with the press up. So if you can use the fists, if you can't use the palms of the hands, it's also fine. This here, like this. And what I want you to do is just very slowly find a structure. And what in this case, what you're looking for is really a good structure, again, between the shoulder, elbow, fist. So this case here, and just allow yourself to very slowly roll down into the ground. As if you're pressing the body into the ground. Right. Go all the way to the ground and rest the body into the ground. This way. And then what I want you to do is find again the connection and then press the body out of the ground. And the kind of the slower the better. So you can take pauses between. You can also, if this is very kind of tough, you can do it on the knees as well. This is not a problem. What the main thing this is teaching is really a good structure between the shoulder, elbow, and fist, or the contact point. So just take it very slow, always maintaining the structure. Good.
Michael, Is it on your fists, or can you also use the full hand?
You can really do any. You can do with the palm too. The fist is in a way ideal for teaching this kind of structure for delivering a strike. But in terms of the actual structure itself, it's the same whether you're on the palms or on the fist. So in a way, the fist is ideal, but the palms also fine, no problem. This way. This way. That way. Yeah. So palms or fists, really.
Yeah, good. Okay, good. Very nice. Good. Yeah, good.
Okay, and with this one, try and avoid this with the arms. Try and avoid. Oh, let's see. Try and avoid this position where the elbows stick out from the body. Try and in this case keep the elbows. I'm not quite tight to the body, but I'm allowing the elbows to basically come here. And then the feeling is that I'm injecting the weight through the elbow. So it's more this kind of feeling. In this case, the contact here. So the elbows are quite close to the body here. This way. And then you can feel the structure kind of, the body being kind of injected by the elbows this way. So it's almost like a kind of classic Chinese strike this way. But try and avoid, in this case, this way for this one. You can do this as a press up. That's really also fine. But in terms of teaching a kind of structure for delivering a strike, at least in a basic sense, try and keep the elbows in alignment this way.
Good. Very good.
Good. Okay, we're going to kind of we're going to actually blend them all together and then we'll get a set out of it. So the press up's the hardest one, so don't worry about it. It gets easier, I think. Yeah, kind of gets easier. So in this case, you just do the press down. So you press down into the ground, no press up, and then you release it. And then what I want to do is release the hands straight up. And then from the back foot, I want to curl over this way. So you curl in onto the body this way. And just allow the body to come straight this way. Relax the shoulders. And then what I want to do is just from the core initiate, arise, sit up this way. Yeah, and then just come back down. This way. Yeah, and you can choose. You can, actually, yeah, try this. In this case, you can roll back through the body, find the press up, and then raise back up. Yeah. So you can do a kind of full set actually. We'll do a mini set each time. So you go down, find the press up position, you press down, release, roll, left, and then sit up. Sit back down, roll back, find the press up, and stand up that way. Give it a try. It's kind of mini flow set. There we go. Great. Good. Very nice. Okay. Now we just introduce one movement, and it's just from the from the start. So this is basically the down of the squat. So you just start in this position. I want you to really keeping the feet flat on the ground, just sinking down. Now this is really the structure from the hip, the knees into the foot this way. And just allow yourself to really sink down as far as you can into a squat that's comfortable. And then press the ground, and then just shift the legs back. And then you just find the press up all the way down. Release the arms. Swing the body over, sit up, this way, and then you just reverse it back. This way, and then when you come to here, you can either shift the feet forwards in one go, or you can walk them forward. Yeah, but try and really keep the feet on the ground. this way, sink back into the ground, sink back into the squat, and then again the structure here, press into the ground, and just rise up through the body. Yeah. So now introducing the squat, but separating it out. So you start with the squat down. Show it one more time. You squat all the way down into the ground. As much as you can, keep the feet flat on the ground. Find the press up, press down, roll over, sit up, sit down, roll back, press up, and then find a raise of the squat. Yeah.
Easy peasy. Good.
Very nice.
Good. Good. Yeah. So good. Great. Very nice. Okay, good. One more movement. Okay, this is the leg raise. This is done in a slightly different way. You're gonna do. I'll show it kind of separately so that you can see it. Maybe sometimes Andrea does this in the kind of Ukemi works. It's kind of a nice one. You're actually in this position. You just bring the legs all the way over this way, and then you roll all the way back over the body this way. Sit here. Yeah. And then from this position, you reverse it. You roll the legs up this way, and then slowly allow them to descend back down to the ground this way. Yeah. Actually, just practice this one as a solo, and then we'll introduce into the set. Hopefully you can see it. Camera's a bit straight. Okay, so you, in this position, just allow the legs to come all the way over, and then adjusting the head, sink all the way into the ground this way, and then dragging the legs back over this way. You find this position, and then you just allow the vertebra to roll down the hips, and then to that. Yeah, give it a try. Just a few. Okay, nice. Okay. Good. Oh, okay, good. So one problem with it, I'm doing it on hard floor, so in this case, don't do this. Oh, let's see. Don't do. Maybe I'll show you from this way. Don't go fully back over with the head flat this way, because if I get to this position, basically the spine's already trapped here, and then if I try and I can just about do it, but it's a very tricky movement for the body. So, and it's also kind of crunching against the spine. So, as you go over, start to rotate the body, as if you would if you were going to do a backwards roll. So already start to move the head, basically this point, this way, and the same going over. Move the head, roll the body up. The actual key point in this exercise is actually just the leg raise. This way and down. So if you're struggling with this, just allow the body to come all the way over as comfortably as you can with the legs, and then just bring it back. Bring them back. So actually, the key part of this exercise is the leg raise and descent. Yeah, give it a try. But really protect the neck as you go over.
I can't figure out how you come back from lying flat on your tummy, Michael.
You want me to? I'll show you.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it. So
let's see. And so I'm in this position, totally flat. Yeah. Now what I do is roll the hips up. So you can use one of the arms to kind of leverage up the body a little bit, and then this way, pressing from the feet, rolling the body up, and then it's a bit like I walk the feet up.
Crumbs.
Got it? Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
Easy. Totally easy. It's a bit like doing a forward roll from the ground, so
this way. Walk the feet up.
Okay, almost.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll just do one time, really slow. It's basically the whole set, so I'll show it first so you've got a bit of a break. So really slow. You're basically going to be in the shoulder width position. You're going to start with the squat, so squatting down into the ground. Try and get really as far as you can into the squat. Pressing the hands into the ground, or the fists. Come down, press down, release the hands, roll the body over, find the sit up, sit back down, roll the legs over, roll the legs back, here, roll all the way over, find the press up, find the feet, find the squat, and then raise back up. Yeah, and that's it. Okay, give it a try. I'll do it with you, so you've got a guide. Maybe it confused. Okay, so start with the squat. Do this just really slow, just within your structure. None of it should hurt. So if any of it hurts, abort. Not a good idea. So don't go through pain to do this. So you just sit into the squat, all the way down as far as you can. Ideally, kind of the shoulders, the knees into the armpits. Okay, find the ground with the fists or the hands. Coming down. Okay, pressing down into the ground. Releasing the hands, rolling over. Okay, sitting the body up. Sitting the body down. And this is where you do the leg raise. So raising the feet over, rolling over if you can. Rolling back. Feet to the ground, the legs to the ground. Now rolling back over. This is where you find the press up. Press up. Bring the feet in. Find a low squat. And then just raising it through the spine. Nice and slow. Good. Very good. Okay, good. Good. Okay, the next step in that, we're not going to go there today, maybe another day, is you would just blend this all together. So you would really make a kind of flow set from this way. You would basically just don't stop. You come down, find the feet, roll down, roll up, roll over, roll back, press up, and then stand up this way. Yes, and you can also mix the order of them. So you can also play with the series and create a kind of new set. And then the aim in that one is to maintain the structure through flow, which is much harder than the static form. Okay, good. So we're gonna look a little bit at some Atemi work. So nice and relaxed. You're gonna just start with the feet shoulder width apart. All I want you to do in this case is we're just going to look first at a ski position. It's very similar to the exercise we did at the beginning, just sending the hand out. And in this case, we're going to intend into making a strike later. But I don't want you to think about striking yet. I just want you to think again, this connection to the hip and the hand, and just throwing the arm out. So you're just going to kind of toss the arm out and then bring it back. And the feeling in this case is that it sends it out and then sends it back. Don't worry at all about the hand or the shape of the hand. Just at the moment, just really focus on the connection between the hip to the hand and drawing it back. Hip to the hand. So very loose, hip to the hand. Just kind of throw it out. That's it. So very loose. Don't really think about striking yet. You're just really now practicing kind of structure. And again, creating the connection to the hip through the joint. So hip to the shoulder, to the elbow, to the hand. Just that structure. Nice and easy. Okay. And again, try not to create tension down the arm. So in the same way that I don't want to hold myself through this exercise or hold the arm through this exercise, I don't want to hold the arm through this exercise. So I don't want to kind of hold tension in the arm. What I want to do in this case is really just throw it out. So there's really no tension in the arm. But also in the same sense, I don't want to just throw the body out with it. So I don't want to throw the whole structure out with the fist. What I want to do is maintain the structure down and then throw the arm out. So in this case, it's as if you're really just throwing the fist out, but the shoulder doesn't leave and the elbow doesn't get thrown out either. So just have the sense of just really throwing it out. Throwing it out. You're just trying to really establish the connection and keep the structure. That's it. So there's no speed at all. No power, no speed. That's it. That's it, that's it, that's it. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, let's see if I can show that. This is actually good. If you've got a wall nearby, you can use. Oh, ignore that. You can do the same thing. Just get the feeling of placing the fist. So in the same way, this is similar to when we do the bokken work, swinging through, placing, and then focusing with the sword. So in this case, I want you to just place the fist into the ground, into the wall. It's a wall. You're a wall. This way. So I want you to now just have the sense of creating a fist with the same sensation of sending the hand out, and you're just going to make contact with the wall. I'm not going to apply any pressure into the wall. So the wall should not feel damaged. You don't want to bruise the wall at all. I just really want to place it in and then draw it back. Place it in, draw it back. Place it in, draw it back. Yeah, so if you've got a wall, this is really helpful. Okay, yeah, good. Good. Yeah, good. Good. Okay, good. Nice, Adrian, great. Very good. Okay. Okay, and just very briefly, I want you to just go to a push. So also make sure you're changing hands when you do this. I want you to go to a push this way. And again, I want you to just have the feeling, not really of pushing the wall, but just establishing contact. Now, what I want is the feeling that when I push the wall, I'm actually pushing from the ground. So it's the pressure, when I increase pressure here, it's actually going to the ground this way. Now, if I've thrown my structure out during this movement, the pressure just goes to the arms. And then what's actually happening is the structure's falling through the movement. And this is just leaning into the ground this way. So I'm actually leaning into the push. And I've actually lost my balance through the attack. This is the classic when you see Aikido attacks like this. They throw the balance out. So I don't want to throw the balance at all. So I just don't want to leave the ground. So go to a push, because this really goes against our tendency to go this way and push with the body. What I want to do is this. So it's really, again, just making contact. It can be very light, but just have the sense of throwing the arm out and connecting to the wall. You can also do the palm. You can start to go with the fist, but just really making contact. No real pressure. There's kind of grams of pressure, if that. That. Okay, good. Yeah, good. Uh-huh. Okay, good. Yeah, great, super, great. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great. Great. Okay, good. Also, I want to watch with the push. The other thing is that if I do this, and as I push, I'm actually pushing myself back. So a lot of the time when we do these kind of attacks, we're actually being pushed back through the ground. So what I want to do is, through the contact point again, really have the feeling that I'm not going to go anywhere. So again, really feel now, increase pressure into the push, into the contact point, and again, really feel that it's actually from the ground. So the pressure is actually going to originate again from the ground and the hip this way. If I originate it in the hand, this happens. So if the action of the push goes from the hand, this happens. But if the action comes from the ground, this happens. So I don't go anywhere with it. So my feeling is that I'm striking with the ground this way, but I'm not striking with the hand this way. If you go to Makiwara work, then this is the same. If I strike with the feeling of the hand, this happens, and the recoil goes into the arm. But I really want the feeling of striking with the body in the ground. Yeah, so just go now with the push. You can do this two ways. You can do this making contact and then increase the pressure. And really get the feeling you're going to increase it from the ground. Here, here. And you can do this slowly.
Michael,
Yeah, go ahead.
please, the position of the feet, normal.
Yeah, in this case, in this case, you can explore a little bit, but in this case, just kind of down in this position here. And then what I'm going to do is just apply pressure from the ground this way.
Yes. Okay.
You can also do in a hammy. It's also fine. Yeah,
Okay.
just explore a little bit. Actually, yeah, it's a
Thank
good point. Just now, explore. It's a slightly different feeling. Can't really show you, but just explore being in different positions. So being in hammy, you basically got 4 options now. You've got you've got the right foot forward, right hand this way, which is kind of the easiest, most basic connection. And then you've got the back hand. So right foot forward, left hand, and then you've got left foot, left hand, left foot, right hand. Yeah, and just practice the same kind of structure now. And really get the feeling again, hips, ground, hand. So you should feel really like you're pushing the wall with the ground. This is really a clear difference between pushing with the arm and pushing with the ground. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Don't hit the kid. Good. 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 Do that. Yeah. Good. Super. Okay, good. So this can be really subtle, but really get the sense that nothing of me goes back in the movement. So again, if I push with the arm this way, this is where the body's leaving, but really get a sensation that you're gonna press down. So again, I'm sinking the hips and applying pressure through the joint this way. But again, the joint's also kind of loose. So I'm just looking to apply weight down this way. But nothing goes back. Nothing goes back. This just goes down this way. So just explore now slightly more kind of dynamically. What you do is you basically just apply more pressure through the strike now. So this is like striking in with the ground. Now this is obviously more challenging because the instant I start to add speed or power, the body starts to kind of recoil through it and I lose the ground. So really get a sensation, ground first, hip, hand. Ground first, hip, hand. And just get a sense of, again, contacting through the ground. This way, this way, this way. That's it. So just increase the pressure this way. And this is really just to test the connection. You can do it with the palm, you can do it with the fist, depending on your surface. If you use the fist, go very slow. That's it. Okay, good. 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 That's okay, good. Okay, and then in terms of the fist work, what you want to do is really align the structure of the fist through the whole joint. The easiest way to do this is with this kind of Chinese punch. So in a way, this way, like this. Now I want the whole joint to be in the structure this way. Now I know because of kind of karate movies and everything, the tendency is to start trying to rotate the joint. This is okay if I can really maintain the structure of the joint through the strike. But it's easier to really begin with this way, and then basically the elbows down, and it can allow the shoulders to sink. The moment I start to rotate, the tendency is for this to happen, where the shoulder again gets thrown out. So go very, very lightly if you're working on the wall, very lightly, and just placing the fist in this way. And you basically want to do the same thing you did with the push, increasing the pressure, and feel that you could increase the pressure from the ground. Now I should feel that the whole joint's free. This way, this way, this way. So you're not really, in this case, working at this distance. You'll have the feeling of making contact and pressing through. Now the feeling that the fist would press through the wall, through the ground. This way, this way. So just really use this as a kind of check on the structure, making contact. The contact point's really the first two knuckles, this way. And then the whole fist presses through, this way. So just make contact and press through. And just explore the different combinations of footwork and handwork. Very light. Just increase the pressure into the fist. This way. And what I really want to check is that these things don't happen when I apply pressure, but the wrist starts to come out, or the wrist starts to come out this way. If I do this again with speed and with power, and as I strike, the wrist goes this way, this is where the wrist starts to take impacts up. Feel that the wrist is just being injected by the elbow. So that's the structure in this case. This way. Very soft. That's good. Okay, good. Good. So we're going to come away from the wall. Just a kind of a classic practice now. This is, you're really going to use the backhand. So what you're going to do is, again, shoulder width apart. You're going to have the hand out in front, and you're just going to roll into the punch this way. Now you're going to use both arms to create the movement. So the hand in the back hip, open the hand out. The front hand's basically going to be on the center line. So if I'm facing this way in the square posture, the hand's on the center line, and the fist is going to come into the center line this way. I'm just going to go again from the hip. So again, just do this very slow, but you're going to really make the fist now and strike through, and then really open the hand out. So in this case, don't do the practice like this. Dong, 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 dong. So it's not a kind of, in a sense, brawling. It's just really in a sense of finding the center line here and delivering the strike through. And then really come into a neutral position with the hip. So you're sending the hips through and then come to a neutral position. Send the hips through and then to neutral. So the hips are always gonna come back to a neutral position. Kind of similar to a kamae position. The hips are really in a neutral sense. Find the center line, find the back hand, create the fist, and then just send it through. Really with no sense of power at the moment. Open it out, hips neutral, and then bring the hips through. Neutral, engage the hip. Neutral, engage the hip. Okay, give it a try. Now bring in the back hand into the movement. That's it. Good. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, so again, all the parts are kind of important. So the first thing to focus on isn't the front hand; it's actually the back. This hand that is here. So the front hand at the beginning of the movement, especially on the center line, is going to drag back through the body this way. So it does this motion, and this is tight to the body, so it's this motion, and this basically is used. Later, you can abandon this, so you don't need it to make the strike. But what this does in the training is allow the body to find balance through the movement. Without it, what happens is usually this, where their body's actually out of balance. So use basically the front hand that becomes the back hand to find the balance in the body, and then find the center line. So really use the back hand. As much emphasis in the front as in the back. As again, it's the same with all the striking work we do with the sword work, with the jo, as much in the back as in the front. So really allow the front hand to coil back, and this way. So this is, and the first step's really just kind of coordinating the body. Very similar to the first exercises we did, but now the focus is on later delivering power through the movement. Train the structure, train the coordination, train the structure, and then you use it to deliver power, basically. Okay, good, great. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Hmm. Okay, and again, because you're in a neutral position with the hips, I don't want to again throw the shoulder out with the hip. So quite a lot of the time, again, this is why I really need to go slow for a long time before I go to power or really think about power. In the case of going to power this way, I throw it out. Also, I can throw the hip out with it, and then I'm in these kind of positions, right? I've actually twisted the body, but in a sense, get the feeling you spiral into the ground. Spiral into the ground. So this is really hockey work. This is why we're not training something else. So in this case, we're not really training an additional striking system or kind of, in a sense, a kind of karate strike. But in a sense, you want to use the kind of structure that we train already, which is utilizing spirals from the ground. So it's actually this kind of structure that I'm using, and don't use this kind of structure. So don't bring the body out. It's not bad. It's a quite an effective way to deliver impact this way. But it's just not really what we do. So really do it with a sense of the ground and coiling into the ground this way. Coiling into the ground this way. And don't allow the shoulder to come out. Really sit the shoulder back and striking down. So pick up the pace as long as you can really maintain the structure through it. The moment really much more about structure than delivering power yet. So really this way. Really get the sense of coiling into the ground. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Good. Much better. Good. Okay, nice. Okay, so we'll basically use that same structure now, basically in movement. We're going to skip a few. There's kind of levels to this where you would start to work in a hammy and work with the foot. But we're going to go kind of straight into moving now. So what I want to do is the first movement, you're going to take a step and strike. So use the same leg and the same foot this way. And I want you to just come in and strike through and ground the body this way. Really get the feeling of grounding through the feet this way and striking down. So really now coordinating the hips to the hand. If you need to use the back hand, so just now moving this way to the strike. And again, really focusing that when I connect the impact through the body, is spiraling down into the ground this way. And not coiling out, and not throwing myself out. So throw the punch, but don't throw the body out. Throw the strike, but the body's grounded. So just striking back foot, backhand. This way. Back foot, backhand. Really grounded. Okay, good. Okay, good. This is kind of tricky to show. I need a person to show it. Not got a person. In this case, what I want to do is not necessarily deliver a strike this way, but what I want to do is deliver the weight of the body through the strike. So I'm actually in the moment of contact, the body's actually very close, and then what you're doing is extending through the strike this way. So what I want you to do is, don't think about
don't think about impacting the body this way. Sometimes we do these kind of strikes. These are much more common with the Shomanuchi work. So it's kind of making almost a kind of superficial movement. In this case, what you're doing is really delivering the weight of the body through the fist. So what I want you to focus on, just the last kind of couple of minutes, is delivering the weight of the body through the strike. So the feeling, this is actually easier to do with a push. This is the best way to train it, is coming through and pushing, making contact and pushing through with the body. And again, I want the movement to come from the ground, coiling down into the ground this way. So think now don't think about making a kind of impactive strike this way, but think now about delivering weight through the body this way. So really kind of what you want to do is deliver the whole weight of your body through this impact point this way, or kind of a contact point really, but this way. So just focus now slowly, kind of imagine the point when you would make contact and then feel you can press the body through it. So you want to really add weight to the attack. This is one of the biggest weaknesses in Aikido attacks. They tend to be very light, super light. So there's no real weight behind them. So what I want you to do is really have this sense of slowness and really pressing the weight through the strike. Press the weight through it. Good. Good. Yeah. Good. Okay, good. Just the last one. What I want you to do is front foot, front hand. So basically you're going to kind of slide in and strike through. This is a sharper movement. So again, the tendency to go into these kind of movements and impact forward, but really get a sense again from the weight of the body from the ground. So this is a much sharper attack, but in this case, really get a sense of this movement through and the body spiraling down and extending through the fist in this way. So really think about weight being pressed this way. So you want to deliver the whole weight through the body this way. This way. And again, just take it slow and press weight through the ground. So front foot, front hand. See? Ah, yeah, good. Bernie's got a punch bag. Great. Ah, okay, good. Okay, good. Last kind of 30 seconds. Just really explore combinations. So those are the main two. I'm basically using the back foot, back hand this way, and then the front foot, front hand this way. You've obviously got the other combinations where you basically 1 foot forward and the opposite strike this way. And these are kind of more complicated, the slide forward and the strike this way. So these are slightly different strikes. So just play within them and just basically using movement and all the time spiraling down into the ground, delivering weight. Spiraling down into the ground, delivering weight. And you can start to also change the kind of targets with the strikes. Just really play with it. Just delivering weight and vary the attacks. Sticking with skis, but really pressing weight through the ground. This way. All the time thinking of spirals and the structure that we train all the time from the weapons work, try and integrate it now into the body work. Keep the fist heavy, relaxed, pressing weight through the body. Okay, good.
Oh, okay, good. So the main practice, in this case, it's still a kind of in a sense of basic practice, even though it's using a variety of movements. So delivering the strike and really, each time really grounding the body and then moving somewhere else, delivering the strike, really grounding. Each time really allowing the body to settle into the ground through the fist, through the contact point. So really in this case, it's a kind of a basic practice. And then from that practice to what you would then go into is a kind of motion. So moving the body this way. But that really relies on my ability to be able to ground the movement this way. So the flow again is really built up from these basic movements, which basically start from this position this way, really grounding the body down and then taking that into an advancing move this way. And all the time looking to spiral into the ground through the strike. Okay, that's pretty much the structure that you can follow. And you can do that structure with any attack. So all the uraken, shomenuchi, yokomenuchi, or any kind of thrusting position, or the strikes with the feet, you can also use the same structure. So we'll look at them this weekend on Sunday. Okay, good. We'll bow out. That's it. Okay. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。